your loved one who is gone, how would they want you to feel and mourn their life? Would they want you to be stuck in this depression stage for your whole life? Right. No, they wouldn't. How would you like to be mourned if something happened to you? And I think if you think about that, they'd want you to be happy. They'd want you to continue your life. They'd want you to have joy in your life. So believe that that's okay and then do it.
Right. I mean, this is really such a personal journey, but you have to treat it like a journey. Just don't get stuck in one phase and try to find a way to move forward.
You know, we find a great way to move forward is to talk to others who are grieving the same person. You know, encourage each other to heal.
Right.
Sooner or later, we're all going to face grief from death of a loved one. I recently lost my 62-year-old brother, Chuck, so it's actually pretty fresh in our hearts right now.
On top of that, we have both already lost our parents and found ourselves at times still working through that grieving process.
So today we're going to share with you our grieving process, which by the way is not the same, and then give you some tips on how to honor their lives, the ones that we lost, and keep yours from getting derailed by the death of a loved one, because that can happen.
And really, at this phase of life, you know, grief is inevitable. We're all going to face grief in some way, shape, or form. There's just no way around it. You know, so how do you deal with it? You know, how do you deal with the death of your parents or a sibling? Certainly the death of children, I can't even imagine.
Yeah, we know friends that have had that, and it's so hard to recover from that.
And just even relatives or close friends. You know, as we age, this actually becomes part of life.
So this is a real deep and honest discussion today. And if you're new here for the first time, we appreciate you watching the videos, and we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel and also click the notification button. That way you're always in the know when our new videos come out. And above all, if you could share any of these videos with your friends, we really, really would appreciate it.
Yeah, we do appreciate you being here, and we share everything retirement except financial.
Right.
So we're here to help you with all of the other struggles that you may face as you're going through this phase of life, which one of them is our topic today, grief.
Right. So we have both lost both of our parents. My dad, who was 80 at the time, and gosh, I think it's probably 7 years ago now, he died of alcoholism. You know, he was an alcoholic, and he
was a functioning
he
alcoholic.
Was. Yeah, he had a great career as CEO of our company. My brother and I bought our company from him. But he took his whole drinking thing in work and brought it into retirement, and that's really what killed him. And it was funny, I was just thinking this morning that while he was still alive at the end, he started to lose his friends. So, you know, what we're talking about now, as we get older, hopefully we're going to live a lot longer, we start to lose our friends. He created a list of his 8 friends, and he started to cross them out as they passed away. And it was so sad. Yeah. He just sat there and watched them one by one go, which was awful. A year later, my mom died from Alzheimer's disease. She was 80 years old. So that was a really tough 7-year process for us to go through. First, my dad from alcoholism.
Pre-retirement.
Yeah, that was, so that my dad was 8 years ago. She was 7. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
Since they've been gone.
Yeah, and you know, I lost my mom to pancreatic cancer suddenly, and that was also pre-retirement.
That was 1 year. She had when she was diagnosed, she lasted a year, and that's
She did, and it was really challenging for me, especially at the time where I was working and juggling, you know, high school kids and my career and my mom's cancer, which, you know, I was sure that I was going to be able to fix in some way, shape, or form, which in the end, of course, I couldn't. You know, my dad was a bit of a different story. We actually lost my dad to COVID during the major COVID lockdown, and that was very challenging as well because we couldn't really see him. I couldn't really be with him. I really didn't know how to grieve that process because I was so separated from it. So I started on a grief journey 5 years ago when my mom died, and then 2 years ago after my dad died. And I consider myself still on that journey. I know you have different views on that.
Yeah, and we're going to share those in a minute. And, you know, when we started to think about talking about this today, we did research like we always do, and we found a book that was written in 1969 by Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who's a psychiatrist. She wrote a book called On Death and Dying. And the interesting thing about it is it's referenced all of the time in everything that we found.
Especially the stages that she talks
Well, that's
about.
the thing. She said that most people expect to experience 5 stages. The first one is denial. You just say it couldn't have happened. There's confusion and shock. And you avoid the topic. You don't want to talk about it. And the next stage or another stage is anger. Really frustration and anxiety over the loss of this person.
And then you kind of go into that bargaining stage where you're really trying to find meaning. You reach out to others. You're trying to tell your story. You're trying to tell the story of your loved one or the person you lost. And that's a real confusing stage, I think. And then, a lot of people move into depression where you're just overwhelmed and you're, hostile. You just really want to
run.
Just kind of run away from it all. And then finally, a plan of acceptance, right? A place where you can move on and really begin to explore joy in your life because you still have your life. And that's really a hard transition too. I mean, none of those phases are easy.
No, they're not. And she talks in this book about it. And again, as I said, that was so long ago.
Yeah.
But all of these other blogs and people that talk about grief refer to those 5 stages. But subsequent research that's been made has made it really clear that grieving is a highly individualized process. And it can be unpredictable. And I think that's what you and I truly believe the way that I grieve is the right way. But what I found is the right way for me.
Right.
It is not the right way for you.
Right.
And vice versa. You grieve differently than I do. And that, and it takes longer or short, a different length of time for each person.
So let's talk a little bit today about what you can do to ease some of the pain in the process. We have done some research on it. We've both experienced firsthand, and most recently with the loss of Chuck last week. But let's talk about some maybe things that we could help you with that could help you process the pain.
Well, one of the things that I do, and I've done when my mom died and my dad died, is I wrote a letter to them, and frankly, I put it on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I just did the same thing with Chuck last week, and I wrote him this wonderful letter of gratitude for everything that we did together, everything he meant to me as a good brother and a good friend, the trouble we got in school, and Boy Scouts, and camping, and riding motorcycles, and running 2 businesses. But I'm so grateful for every second and every moment that I had with my mom, my dad, and my brother. So writing a letter for me is helpful, and I kept a journal throughout his illness, which was helpful to me.
That definitely was helpful
I don't know if did you journal or write a letter for your mom?
I didn't. I journaled. I kept a journal and I kept a diary, and I also kept her medical files and records. And I was vending pancreatic cancer doctors up and down the seaboard, the eastern seaboard, to try to find someone that could help.
But that letter helped me ease my pain.
Yeah.
So the other thing you can do is...
Second thing you could do is really honor the person with a donation or a day of service or volunteering, in their honor, in their name. If they died of a particular disease and you want to go in that direction, or they had a particular heartfelt love, you want to go in that direction, whether it's, animals, children, hunger, just volunteering, whether it's cancer or ALS or, pick a cause. But, rallying your family around on a day of service.
It would be a nice thing to do.
It would be a really nice thing to do and a nice memory.
Yeah. The other thing that Jody and I are big on together, and we align with this, is we really recognize the universe. We call it the universe. Signs of our parents coming back, or my brother, whatever it might be. And for your mom, it's, I don't know, maybe you could remind me why, but cardinals, any red cardinal, even if there's 3 of them together, it's your mother.
Yeah.
And it always causes us to smile.
Well, that is kind of a universal sign that people seek when they've lost someone.
Yeah, but she's around a lot. But so,
it was interesting this summer. I don't know if you've ever seen this, and I had never seen this. Red cardinals just appear, and they're broad-chested, and they're, they're bold and they're beautiful. But this summer in our tree in front of our house, there was actually a nest of baby cardinals, which we had never seen before. Yeah. But, signs are really important
Funny
to me.
License plates, bumper stickers.
A car will cut me off and it'll say, haha, yo mama. And I'm like, I can't believe this is happening to me right now. But we always are looking for, signs or butterflies or, something in the universe that reminds us of that person and keeps them top of mind.
And the other thing we do, we keep them in our heart and mind, keep their memory alive with stories, shared experience, and others. For me, I truly believe that everything inside of me that's good came from my parents. And now that my brother has passed, he has moved inside of me as well. And I continue to counsel the three of them on making decisions. I don't really have a chit-chat with them, but I feel like when I've got a decision to make, they're helping me weigh in and make the right kind of decision.
That's a great perspective on how you bring them into your soul.
Right.
I don't think I've ever heard that until you told me that with your parents.
Yeah.
I'd never heard that. The fifth thing to do, and this is really important, is to take care of yourself. Be patient with yourself. Take your time alone if you need it. Speak nicely to yourself. Make sure you're eating healthy and hydrating. I mean, your physical and mental wellness is going to be incredibly important to help you get through this stage.
Yep. The other thing is, the last thing really that we do is allow joy in your life.
That's harder than you think.
It
after
is,
someone
but
passed.
here's the thing. Your loved one who is gone, how would they want you to feel and mourn their life? Would they want you to be stuck in this depression stage for your whole life? Right. No, they wouldn't. How would you like to be mourned if something happened to you? And I think if you think about that, they'd want you to be happy. They'd want you to continue your life. They'd want you to have joy in your life. So believe that that's okay and then do it.
Right. I mean, this is really such a personal journey, but you have to treat it like a journey. Just don't get stuck in one phase and try to find a way to move forward.
We find a great way to move forward is to talk to others who are grieving the same person. Encourage each other to heal.
Right.
This has been fun for us to talk about this because it's healing for us to talk about my brother Chuck and our parents and your parents. But we hope you enjoyed this. And if you did, please share it with your friends. And we also want you to subscribe by clicking the subscribe button. And the other thing is, it would be great if you could leave a comment below on how you grieve a loved one. Because all of us together can help everyone that sees this video get better at grieving.
And finally, join our free Facebook community. We're a community of nearly 700 strong, sharing ways to move through this phase of life effectively and with a lot of joy. The link is in the notes below.
Thanks for listening, and we look forward to being with you again.